Hope you're all well. Just wait a couple more seconds, see who else is coming in. Oh God, your eyes are lying on the side of my face. That's not good, is it? So do let me know who's in the chat tonight, because I can't actually see the chat. So give me a thumbs up or a heart. So that would be really cool, so I know who you are and who's here. I hope you're all well this evening and looking forward to another evening cooking with me. We've got a nice Egyptian delicacy for you this evening. Hi Annette, how are you? Nice to see you here. Who else have we got? So this evening we're going to be cooking one of my favorite Egyptian dishes, actually. Looking forward to some yummies. Me too. You know what I haven't done is put the oven on, so hold on a sec. Hi Ronnie, how are you? I hope you're both well. Let me just put the oven on, because I just realised I haven't put it on yet, and that'd be a disaster waiting to happen. So we are going to be making an Egyptian dish called a macarona bechamel, but with a bit of a twist. So in Egypt we eat a lot of carbs. Carbs is a big part of the Egyptian diet, hence why, you know, I'm not as skinny as I should be. But what we tend to do is we kind of pair it with meat as well. So this evening I'm going to make macaroni bechamel with a mince meat in the middle. Okay, so we'll give that a go. So what we're going to do to start with is turn you around so you can see what our ingredients are. Okay, so excuse me, we have some ingredients here. So we have our penne pasta. Okay, we have our minced beef. We have some grated cheese for the bechamel sauce. We have some lovely garlic, crushed garlic, some fresh tomatoes, we have some flour, we have some parsley and coriander fresh, and onions, some black pepper, and we have some grated parmesan cheese just to finish the dish off afterwards. Okay, so what we need to do while we're waiting for the pasta to cook, we're going to get this on first. Now what I tend to do is I will get the water boiling first, and then everything's going to go in this dish afterwards. So let's put you over here just for a second. Now we get this on the boil. So this will, while we're actually doing our meat and everything, then our pasta will be cooking, because we need to be able to layer it in the pan properly afterwards. So it's always a good idea to get it on, get it cooked, and we can forget about it. And then we can actually cool it down by washing it off a little bit with some cold water and stuff. Okay, so hold on, can we get into the pasta, that is. Did you bake it like a casserole? Yeah, you finish it off in the oven. Okay, so what I tend to do is I boil my pasta first. There's probably a little bit too much pasta there, but that's okay. Get that, put some water, salt in the water, and then we will give it a good boil. Okay, get that cooked. We need it fully cooked, and while that's fully cooking, we will come back around here and we'll get the bits and pieces done. So I've got to try and get you into a good position there. Is that good enough, do you think? Hopefully. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, we're going to prepare our tomatoes. I can't actually see the chat at the moment, so do hold a fire for asking questions. And then once I come back around the other side of the camera, you can ask my questions away. So first of all, I need to make some salsa. So we're going to get the salsa mix up and running. So what I tend to do is get some fresh tomatoes, because it always tastes better with fresh tomatoes. And I use about, well, the meal I'm cooking today will serve about 4 people. In Egypt, we obviously do a lot more. We use a lot more. So because we tend to like feed like or have the same food for like 3 or 4 days running, because then it stays on cooking time. It's always very hot to be cooking in the kitchen. So first of all, oh, hold on, so I can put that in. Blend. Now that's ready. So we've got our tomato juice ready there. Hi Wendy and David, how are you this evening? I hope you're well. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to chop up our onion. Okay. Now, if you want the recipe for this afterwards, you can go on to the Blue Lotus website. So it's www.blue-lotus-egypt.com, and you can get the recipe from there. Okay, so the full recipe with pictures is on the website, or you can just watch this video on repeat, which will also be good. So we're just going to chop these up. We want it fairly chopped up finely, because this is going into our mincemeat. Now, I'm no Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver, so I'm not very good at chopping up like quickly, so you have to bear with. Now, everything that I cook, I've learnt on the ground in Egypt from Egyptian family, and perfecting it over 25 years of living out there. Now, this was always my kids' favourite as well. They loved macaroni bechamel, because, you know, you can eat it hot or cold, really, either. So we've got this all sorted. We also have our garlic, and what we're going to do is we're going to take you over to the cooker now, because we're going to start frying off our stuff. Oh, hold on a minute. Let's point you downwards. Here we go. All right, so let's get our hob on. Now, we're going to need a little bit of oil in the pan to grease the pan. Now, I just use vegetable oil because it's a lot cheaper than using olive oil or anything like that. And all we're going to do is fry our mince off to make our mince meat part of the macaroni bechamel. Okay. Now it's up to you. I use beef mince. If you're wanting to use a different kind of mince, you could use chicken, you could use turkey, you can use pork mince. Up to you. Up to you what you want to use. But I'm using beef because it's traditional. Oh gosh, our pasta's gonna oil over in a minute. Let's turn that bugger down. I do hate it when my pasta overboils. Right, so I'm going to cut all this up a little bit. Yes, the phone. Oh, I tell you what, Sarah, it's absolutely chucking it down up here. And I've got to go out and play another game of paddle later and a tournament. And apparently it's going to be the heaviest rain that we've had all day today. So that's just going to be a bit pants, isn't it? So if I got it here, put it on full. So we're going to wait for that to start cooking up. So we need this nice and fried off. Oh. I see like it is cut from the same cloth as the Daisy. yeah, sorry. Just ignore the dog in the background. You know, she's doing her thing. She's waiting to see if there's some scraps available. You know, she's a typical husky where she just wants to eat everything that we're eating. Bless her. You got to love her for her determination, I tell you. Right, so it's starting to fry up a bit now. If I'd have been a bit cleverer, I would have actually preheated this before we got going, but that's okay. So let's get all that nicely done off. Check on our pasta, because we want that nicely cooked, but we don't want it overcooked. A little bit al dente would be quite nice, because as soon as this is all done, we're going to start layering it into the pan. Okay. Now, has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask me so far before I we start going into a bit more detail. No, awesome. Everybody following along okay? Give me a thumbs up. Makes an appearance doing my oh, she can't help herself. There'll be a cat here soon as well. There'll be our little fat tub tabs. She's always around somewhere, loitering within the tent, that cat, honestly. Gotta love her, but she's so naughty. Right. But what would my tours be, hey, without a cat and a dog in the background? Okay. So we want this to be reasonably half cooked off before we add our onions and our garlic. Okay, so that's going to keep going for a minute. Let's see if I can find my soda. And then I'll find out what I haven't got any. I've got some there somewhere. I always use a good tomato paste as well when I put the tomatoes in. I know it sounds daft, but it does make it taste a little bit more tomatoey, which always makes it taste a bit better. Okay, so this is nice. Now this is only 15% fat in this one, which is okay. I don't mind it being less. I do like a bit more fat in my meat because it gives it a little bit more flavour. I do like a lot of flavour in my food. I don't like plain food at all. Well, now that we've got that halfway done, we can start adding our onions, like so. Give that a good stir up, because we want the onions to fry up nicely as well. We don't want them, still half cooked when we start, because we don't really want boiled onions. We want fried onions. Everybody likes a good fried onion, don't they? Now ideally I would have liked to have chopped my onions a little bit tighter than what I have done. I mean, they are absolutely fine as they are, but because you can have it a little bit chunky in there, which is absolutely fine, but I would have preferred to have them a little bit smaller. Oh, I just love smelling, cooking onions. And like, just Egyptian food is very aromatic anyway, isn't it? Because of all the different spices we have in there. And then once we get the garlic going, that really, really adds some smell and flavour. And also will probably repeat on me for 3 days afterwards, but So if you've just joined the tour, welcome. Thanks for coming in. I can't always see the chat all the time because, I'm having to try and concentrate on cooking and I can't keep looking at my screen, which is the other side of the phone. So if you do have any questions, do save them up and I will do a Q&A at the end. So you can ask me any questions you like about anything that we've done in the tour tonight. Per norm, I've done far too much pasta. Always do too much pasta for me. I'll give it a check over. That's still a bit too hard. Maybe a little bit softer than that. Bring it back up to temperature a little bit. So, as you can see, the pinkness has gone out of all this now. You can smell those lovely onions and garlic cooking in there. The smell is just absolutely delicious. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the tomato that we blended up in the beginning. Now you could use tinned tomatoes if you wanted to. There's no shame in using that if you haven't got fresh tomatoes. I just feel that using fresh tomatoes is a lot nicer than using tinned tomatoes. Okay, because tinned tomatoes tend to be a little bit more acidic than the fresh ones, so my preference will always be fresh tomatoes, but you can use tinned tomatoes if that's all you've got to hand, because a lot of people actually in their store cupboards do have, you know, tinned tomatoes. So this, with this recipe, again, with most Egyptian recipes, you have most of the stuff that you need to cook actually in your cupboards already, or in your freezer. Because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I always have like a pack of minced beef in the freezer. I've always got tinned tomatoes. I've always got garlic and onions. You know, they're staples in my diet anyway. So yeah, so this is a really good recipe to get going with. So this is why it's a good recipe, because if you want something fairly quick, it is fairly quick, this recipe as well. It's not that difficult either. It's always good to have a go with, especially if you're starting your Egyptian cooking journey. I always start with these kind of dishes first because they are easier than some of the ones we'll do later on. It's when you get into the puddings that it all gets a little bit difficult. Right, has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask? Yeah, that same here, Ronnie. I've always got something like that. So it's like, say if we have, you know, we haven't been shopping yet or whatever, it's always good to have these things to hand. So if I've always got them in the cupboard, I'm going to add a bit of salt for taste. You know, you don't have to worry about going hungry then. And also, this recipe always lasts, or this food always lasts a few days as well. It's not just a quick one. It's, you know, you've got it for a good few days. And you can always freeze it up as well. I also put a bit of cumin and coriander. In, or cumin and kuspara. Coriander is called kuspara in Arabic. I'll just give it a nice little flavour. Now, personally, I didn't put this actually on the recipe online, but you can do this if you want to. You don't have to. Nobody says you have to. But to just give it a little bit more flavour, I like to put a few chilli flakes in. Now, that's because I like chilli. You might not like chilli, but I do like spicy food. And that'll just give this recipe an extra layer to it, okay? Now, what we want this to do now is reduce down, because we don't want it so wet, okay? So we're going to let this bubble away in the background. Now, our pasta's nearly done, so we can take that off and then transfer these two bits over. And then we can get on to our bechamel sauce, okay? So I told you, this is quite a quick fire recipe where we've got lots of moving components all at the same time. I've always been quite good at being able to do like 15 things at once. Well, that's my cumin. I do like a good bit of cumin in my, sounds so wrong, doesn't it? In my cooking. Right, that's starting to look lovely. And starting to taste good too. So now I'm going to drain off my pasta. Which is the next thing to do. And take that off. Drain it out, which I don't think you really need to see. We've got that cooking nicely in the background. Now what I do is I tend to wash my pasta a little bit with cold water, because I want to be able to layer it out in the dish properly, which I'm going to show you in a minute, okay? But first, what we're going to do is we are going to move this across to the other station, which is here. Okay. And let that reduce down a little bit more. And while that's reducing down, we are going to get another pan, get that on. And then we need some milk and we need some butter. Now, I don't have any like butter, but I do have Bertolli, so we're going to be using that. Because we need to start making our roux for our bechamel sauce, okay? So, first of all, butter goes in the pan. Now, I always have a nightmare with this. Take the extra one off because we need that bit. Okay, and let that come down. Then we're going to get our butter, our flour, sorry. We're also going to need a whisk for this as well. I'll find one, there it is. There's my whisk, which we're going to use in a minute. Right, so this is going to start coming down. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit because we don't want it too hot, because then that'll upset the butter and it'll upset the flour, and then we'll have it all lumpy, which will probably end up making lumpy anyway because I never stir it fast enough. And then it all goes to pot. And take it off the heat a little bit while I put my flour in. Right, so we want to put a good couple of thingies of flour in here. Give it a stir around. Okay, we've got a bit of a roux going on here. Right, and then I'll put a bit too much in there now. We're going to start putting some milk in, okay? So, now what we're going to do, ooh gosh, is going to put a load of milk in. Right, and then we're going to put back on the heat again. And then we've got to try and get rid of these lumps now. So let's give it a good stir around. This is usually when it all goes totally wrong for me. Right, let's give it a stir. And now we're going to start punishing it a little bit. This was that puree. Yes, I think so. Hold on. Let me have a look at the chat if I can see it. Where's the chat gone? Okay. Pureed tomatoes you added. Wendy, what I used was normal tomatoes. Okay, so just normal tomatoes. And then what I've done is I've added a bit of tomato puree to it to make it a little bit nicer. Okay. But now we're making the roux, the bechamel sauce, which we need a bit more milk for because I need lots of bechamel sauce in there. So I'm going to wait for this to start thickening up shortly. So we use fresh tomatoes, which we actually we put in the blender, blended about 4 tomatoes with a bit of water. And then we've added those tomatoes into the sauce. And then what we've done is we have added some tomato puree ready to make it a little bit better. Is the one thing, I do love this country, I do, but the tomatoes here just are not as good as our Egyptian tomatoes. I know it sounds terrible, but I think it's because they're so fresh. Like when I was getting my tomatoes in Egypt, I was getting them fresh out the field, so it makes it taste, it's a better flavour, Now what we want this bechamel sauce to do is to thicken up, okay? This is what we're looking for now. We need to get a bit thicker. We might end up having to add a little bit more flour to the mixture because you can see all those lumps have gone now. So now we're just heating it up and waiting for it to start to thicken. Now you can cheat and you can get bechamel sauce from the supermarket or pre-made, but again, it's one of those things. I like doing everything from scratch. I just think it tastes better, and you can put a bit of love into your food, can't you? Which I do love to do. So just waiting for this to thicken up a little bit, and then once it starts to thicken up, we're going to add some cheese because everybody likes a bit of cheesy sauce. A bit of cheese in our bechamel. And then it just makes it, when I was trying to explain this to Sam, he just went, well, basically it sounds like macaroni cheese, which I thought was a bit rude. But he is absolutely right. It is macaroni cheese. Just a posh version of macaroni cheese. Right. I'm going to leave that for a second. Let it settle. Let it start to harden, to thicken up. Maybe turn the heat up a little bit. Just be a little bit too soft on there. Actually, I've made enough sauce. If not, I'll have to make a bit more. I think I have to put a bit more flour in, actually. Not quite thickening up the way I'd like it to. Right, so put the flour in. Just give it a bit of a whisk around. because we don't want it going thick and lumpy. I'm trying not to let it go lumpy. Now when it thickens up, if it gets too thick, we can just add some more milk to it just to thin it down a little bit. It is a posh version of macaroni and cheese. You're absolutely right, but we're not. I love it, but we're you know, least said about that the better, hey. Okay, so we're going to add some cheese now. You can start to see it starting to thicken up, which is fabulous. That's what we're looking for. Bit of thickness, bit of girth on that. I don't want to use all of this cheese straight away because I do want some for the top. We're going to stick some of that in there like so. Oh, yummy. I do love a bit of cheese. Right, we'll leave the rest for the decoration on top afterwards. And then we need a load of pepper. That gives it a nice little flavour. I will double check it in a bit to make sure there's enough salt in there. Because if it's not, then we need to add a little bit more. But as the cheese is quite salty, I shouldn't need too much, to be honest. Yep, it's getting there. It's the thing, I get so impatient. You see how this is reducing down now? This tomato is starting to get drier, and that's what we want, because when we layer it, we want to be able to layer it properly. We don't want it to be all runny and run through the pasta. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in. But I'm going to heat up a little bit more. It is starting to thicken nicely though. Yep. I might just put a little bit more cheese in there actually. I can always grate some more if I need to. Still got quite a lot left. So let's put a little bit more in. It's because I like cheese. I do love a bit of cheese in my recipes. Alright, just need this to, you can see it's starting to thicken up. I want it to thicken a little bit more than that though. Still a little bit too runny for my liking. Because when we pour it over, we want it to be nice. There we go. There we go. It's starting to thicken now. Looking good. Looking good. Yeah, I'm starting to feel into changing in the bottom now as well. Hence, now we didn't stop stirring this, because if you stop stirring it, what's going to happen? It's going to go lumpy, okay? So, because of the heat on it, we need to keep stirring. Really, really important with bechamel sauce. If you stop stirring, it's death to your sauce, okay? So keep on stirring. There we go. See how that's gone nice and thick now? That's almost the consistency that I'm looking for. Oh, yum, 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 yum. Right, okay. And that is out. That's done. Okay. Right, we'll leave that there for a second because we will come back to that in a minute. Let's go over here, back to this bit over here. Okay, so next bit we need to do. I've got to set the cooker now. Come on. Bear with me. Fine. Right, so next thing we're going to do, when it comes to our chopping board, we just want to chop up a few herby bits. Okay, so I get ready to just use our herbs. Grab a handful of both of these. Now I'm going to do two things with these. I'm going to put a little bit into our meat mixture, but also I'm going to use it for decoration as well. Okay, so it serves as a double thing. So we just want to give this a good chopsy up. I do miss my herb chopper in Egypt, actually. It's that thing that used to rock back and forth. It's really nice to use, that was. There we go, nearly there. Looks lovely. That's nearly there. Okay, so that's nice and chopped up as I'd like it to be. So what we'll do is we'll put that in a bowl as well, and then what I can do then is I can add some to our meat mix in a minute, and then I can also use some to decorate and finish off afterwards. Okay, just love the fact, I mean, Sam must have an absolute heart attack when he comes down. It's such a mess in the kitchen. This is the problem when you do things from scratch. You know, you really do need to do things from scratch. So this is our penne pasta, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting it in the dish. But I like to do things in a very different way, and now this is an absolute nightmare to do, but it does make it look really good. So we're going to stick a little bit like this. Some people hold it up that way, but I can't ever get my pasta to stick up that way, so I don't know why you do that, unless you're using tubes. You could use, now I go for this pasta because I think it's delicious in these sorts of dishes. You could use any pasta you like. If you want one that stands up, great. If not, then don't. But I like to do it this way and try and get it a bit uniform at least, so that when you cut into it later on, it will come out perfectly. Now, this is the one thing I hate about Egyptian cooking, because it just makes everything take a million times longer. My most favourite dish of all time that I make is actually crumb, which is stuffed cabbage. But the process of doing crumb is a nightmare, okay? It takes at least a couple of hours to do it properly, especially because Egyptian cabbages are so big. They are massive. So it takes a long while to do that. Look at me faffing about here. Look at this. Look, it's all going wrong this end. Look at that. It's all sticky. I didn't wash it enough. That's the other reason why I wash the pasta, by the way, because it stops it from being sticky. Because you don't want sticky pasta. Nobody's got time for that. So we're just going to layer these up, as long as they're all roughly in the same direction, because we're going to pack it down a bit further and a little bit later on. So as you can see, this would be way too much food for just one person or two people. So it's usually 4, but because there's only 2 of us here, I probably will save a lot and put some in the freezer. Right, okay, so that's our first layer. So then what we're going to do, right, let's just move that way a little bit for you so you can see it better, is we're going to take our bechamel sauce that we have just so lovingly made, find a ladle, okay, so here it is, our bechamel sauce. Look how thick that is now, isn't that lovely, yummy. Right, so it is a little bit thick on the thick side, but that's okay, we're all right. And we're going to just layer it in the bottom here like that. Right, so we want to just spread it over the pasta as best we can. So it's like you're doing a lasagna really, isn't it? Yeah, so do that. There we go. So our first layer. Okay, and we're doing 2 layers of pasta. And then in the middle, we're actually doing, there you go, perfect, our meat bit, okay? You might have to put a little bit more milk into that so it's a little bit thicker. I do need a good layer on top. Put that out in a minute. Right. Now then, this is our meat that we did, okay? As you can see, that is nicely cooked now. And I'm going to put a generous helping of garnish in there. That's always good. Welcome if you just joined us. Thanks very much for coming in. There we go. Now I'm going to give it a bit of a tasty taste. Oh, that's hot, but it tastes so good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on top of the bechamel, like that, all of it, and I'm going to layer it out in the middle. Okay, there we go. Delicious. And then we're going to get the rest of our pasta, and then we're going to layer it on top. Now, if I was in Egypt, because it's Ramadan at the moment, I'd be making this at least 4 times during the Ramadan season, festive season. But I would make at least 2 or 3 of these for one sitting, because we always have family over. There we go. The other reason for washing your pasta is because it's blooming hot if it comes out of the oven. Off the hob out of boiling water. You don't want to burn yourself. It's so funny. Laker's actually by my feet at the moment because she knows I'm going to drop something. There we go. Now, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it like this. I just like to do it like this because it makes it look pretty. Okay, and I'm all about aesthetically pleasing looking food. Okay, I like to look at my food as well as eat it. But you can just throw it all in and that's good too, you know. So don't feel under pressure that you have to do it like this. I'm doing it because when it cools down, and it's cooked down, because we're going to put it in the oven to finish off, okay, it just is a lot better, okay, well, in my opinion, as far as that goes. But like now I'm going to put a second layer on top. I think we've just about got enough pasta to do that. Crikey, you'd think I'd done this before, wouldn't you? Right, I'm going to stick those on there. Now, some people just use macaroni, which, you know, you have to pour on because there's no way that you're going to want to faff about with macaroni like this, are you? Let's face it. I'm just filling up the holy bits now. But if you're wanting to carb load, this is definitely the meal for you. As I said, all Egyptian food is very heavily carb based, or meat based. You can make a vegetarian option of this as well. You just swap out the mince for corn. If you want to make it vegan, then you have to use a vegan alternative to milk to make your sauce. But you can make it vegan if you want to. Vegan cheese as well you can use, which isn't actually that bad. Actually, I had some at a show a couple of weeks ago. It's quite nice. Right, here we go. Now I can pack it all down, give it a bit of a push down like so. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to pour the rest of that bechamel sauce over the top. What we want it to try and do is spread across the top a little bit. If we can. I think I've actually made it too runny now. We might have to make a little bit more, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we haven't quite got enough bechamel sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit more, because otherwise it's not going to do what we need it to do, which is a bit annoying. Right, so let me just wash out the pan. So if you haven't watched this bit, you're going to get to see it again because I didn't make enough. I always either make not enough or too fucking much, and that is my curse, unfortunately, when I'm cooking. Just get my cooker up and running. Now I could leave it like that, but if I did, it would be too dry. So we need to make a little bit more bechamel. Excuse the sink. So what we needed was our butter. So a little Bertolli butter is what we used earlier. There we go. Big chunk of that. Get that going in there. And then just back in there. Now, why this is doing this and why we're going for round two, has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask me? Ask away. I'll try and answer as many as I can in the time we have. No. Oh, very quiet today. Hope you're all still there. Right, it's going to grate a bit more cheese as well because I need a bit more cheese for this. So that's going to start reducing down. Enough cheese. The dog's at my feet now eating the cheese that's going on the floor. But What's Egyptian cheese like? Well, feta cheese is what we usually have. And goat's cheese mainly. So when we're making stuff like this, we would use authentically probably a hard goat's cheese, something like that, which is good. See what he said? All those pickled onions on the counter. I love pickled onions. Well, yes, we do have pickled onions, but that's actually our jar for you know, spare like oil, like, because we don't like to keep oil in the house like that. So any oil that we have left over from cooking and stuff, we tend to put it in there out the way so we can dispose of it properly. So again, going in with my roux. We need to get some milk. Thank God I bought some more milk today. And then we're gonna, we don't need as much this time because we're only doing a top layer. And then, oh God, I'm going to splatter it everywhere because I'm absolutely hopeless. Poor Sam has a heart attack when he comes back to his kitchen. He's just like, what have you been doing? I'm just like, you know, cooking. Right, so we're going to get this roux going. Won't take too long. Our oven's already preheated, so that's good. Let's keep this stirring again. That's it. Put some salt in there. And then we want some pepper in here as well. Same as before. Make it nice and peppery. More spice the better for me. I do like a good spice, but then I'm somebody that will go to an Indian takeaway and have the hottest thing on the menu. Because, you know, I don't like my mouth apparently. And the more spice I can get in it, the better. But I do like my stuff hot. So just waiting for this to stiffen up a bit. So have you got any other questions you'd like to ask me? Anything about Egypt still? So I am an open book, as you know. You can ask me anything you like when it comes to anything to do with Egyptian food, Egyptian culture, Egyptian ways of life, any of that. Just look at that. Look at that face. Look at the face. She's like, Mummy, you're going to drop something for me? She says, oh God, you're talking about me again, aren't you, Mother? I don't know if I ever told you the story of Laker. So I went to go and see these puppies with a friend of mine, and Laker actually jumped out of the pen that she was in and then came and sat on my lap. Will you travel back to Egypt anytime soon? I'm thinking about possibly going, maybe, I was thinking about this year, but I'm not quite sure if I've got time to this year. And also money, you know, money-wise as well. It's not cheap just to be able to jump on a plane and go. But I would like to go back because I want to go and see the gem. Oh, she's 2.5. She's 3 in July, actually. She's 3 in July. So yeah, I have got plans to go back, but when, I'm not quite sure. Look how quick that thickened up. I obviously did it better the second time around than I did it the first time. But that's actually ready to go on straight away because I did a better job that time. Right, so let's take it back over here. Say hi. Say hi to the peoples. Say hi to the peoples. She's such a doofus. Right, let's spread this on. She is the sweetest pup ever. She travels everywhere I go. Everywhere I go around the country, I've got my pup with me. Look at me. I've done way too much food as per usual. Look at the state of this now. It's going blooming everywhere. I cannot be left alone. Right, let's try and tidy this up a little bit. Oh, crikey. Gracious. It's all going wrong. Don't you just love the fact that I've overfilled my pasta bit? My pasta dish. That's fine. It's all good. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Now what I'm going to do is take some of that grated cheese and grate some over the top, because like obviously we haven't got enough cheese on here already. So there you go. So a nice little bit of cheese on there. Yum yum yum. And just to finish it off, because I can, I'm actually going to put some Parmesan. Actually, just make sure that it's not lumpy. I'm going to put some Parmesan on as well. I'll just give it a different level of flavour to it. Now we do have a version of Parmesan in Egypt actually. I wanted to get all that used up, so that's done. Perfect. Get back in there, you bugger. Right, here we are. Then finish it off with a bit of garnish, like so. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. So bear with me a second, because I've got to do this without you watching. Because you watching would make it disastrous. So bear with me, and we can have a look at it when it's. Oh God, I've got stuff all down the side of this now. I'm trying to keep this going. Right, let's now put this in the oven. Right, so now that is in the oven. It can stay in there for about 10-15 minutes, and then what I will do, look at the state of my side here, look, I'm turning around so you can't see the state of my kitchen. We want that to brown up. That's what we're looking for. Ideal colour would be nice and brown. So while you're not looking, I'm going to tidy up in the background. So have you got any questions you'd like to ask? Ask away. You have my full attention. Kind of. Did I see somebody said Esther had come into the chat? Hi Esther, how are you? Have enough cheese and food. Absolutely, absolutely. The more cheese, the better in my view. Absolutely love a bit of cheese, I do, on my food. Cheese is life. Life is cheese. So come on, questions. I need questions. I can't answer questions unless you ask me some. Now, the next cooking, which will be the end of March, I'm already looking ahead to what you'd like. Is there any special requests of something that you'd like to see me make that's very Egyptian? What would you like? We can do a dessert, we can do a soup, we could do anything. Anything you like. Just let me know in the comments what you fancy. Esther, are you back from Egypt now? Or are you still out there? Hawashi. Oh, that's a good one. Yes. For those of you who don't know what hawashi is an Egyptian sandwich. Have you just used every single... Hold on. You have just used every single one of my favourite foods together in one. Well, there you go. You're welcome. Yeah, hawashi is an Egyptian sandwich. Okay, so it's made with minced beef, tomatoes, and all sorts of yumminess. And you put it into like a pita bread. If I was really, really clever, I would actually make the Egyptian bread that goes with it. But I probably won't do that. I'll probably just use a pita bread. I dedicated to God. It was hawashi. I love hawashi. Hawashi's lovely. What you do is you do all your frying of your minced beef, or you can actually put it in raw as well. And then what you do is you cook it in the oven until it's nice and crisp. It's really, really delicious. But yes, I can do hawashi as well. Now, don't forget, the recipe for tonight's dish is on my website, which is, I don't know if I can actually type in here. I've not actually tried. Let me have a look. Probably not. Can I do that one? No. I don't think I can actually use the chat feature on this at all, which is a bit of a nuisance. Never mind. So you want to go to blue-lotus-egypt.com, and on there you can go to the cooking session. Oh, you can't put the link in. You can put a link in, but we can't. Oh, really? I don't know how to do that. This whole YouTube thing is a whole new enigma to me, and I've only just started learning how to use it. It's been quite good so far, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how on earth I use the chat function on here, because no. Oh, sorry. I literally just went to have a look somewhere else, and it wasn't what I was looking for. Oh dear. Highlight. No. Let's have a look. No, don't know how to do it. So I obviously can't do it on my phone. Thank you, Annette. You're an absolute superstar. And also, don't forget, these tours are 100% tip supported. So if you'd like to support me and help me be able to sort of like bring further recipes to you and also different tours to you, please do. You can buy me a coffee. So you can go to buy me a coffee. /Lesley Hammam, okay, which is my name, and you can buy me a coffee there, or if you'd like, you can actually send a donation through PayPal as well. Just send me an email and I will, or DM me either through Facebook or through here actually, and I can send you the link to that as well. Now, the other thing is, next week I have another tour on Egypt. It will be going inside the pyramids, so we will be doing a tour of one of the videos I've pre-recorded going inside the pyramid, and then the week after that I'm doing the actual Giza Plateau. So I've got lots of exciting things up ready for you. If you go to events live stream, which Annette actually is responsible for, there is a calendar there, and it has all the live events that you could possibly wish to actually take part in on there. I'm not just doing Egypt, I am doing the UK as well. So on Monday afternoon around lunchtime, I'll be taking us to a National Trust site called Shugborough Hall, and we'll be going for a wander around the gardens and taking in the history there. Now, one thing about Stafford that I never really knew about until I actually moved here is all the association it has with the kings of England, and also some of the queens as well. So it's got a very rich tapestry of history up here, and as you know, I am a stickler for a bit of history, so we will be doing some more of that. So do join me on Monday. So there's two ways that you can see me. You can either go to Blue Lotus Egypt on Buy Me a Coffee, or you can look at my other stream, which is the Adventures with Gin. Yes, you heard me right, the Adventures with Gin, because after I've done all the walking, need a gin afterwards, and then we can go through all the English tours there. Kept the two things separate so that it doesn't get confusing if people don't want to go on the Egyptian journey and they just want to go on the English one instead. I do have a very exciting trip planned in 2.5 weeks time. I will be taking us to Austria, and we will be going up onto either the Penken or the Ahorn in Meyerhofen, which I'm really, really excited about because I loved it there last year. I wasn't able to take you to all the places I wanted to do last year because, as some of you know, I had some mobility issues, but this year I'll be able to take you this time. So not only that, I'll be having a go at skiing. So it can either go really, really well or really, really wrong. Who knows? But we'll see. So let's have a look. Should we have a look in the oven and see where we've got to with our dish? Let me flip you around. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Woo! There she is. Look at that. It's starting to brown up beautifully. So that will be ready in another 10-15 minutes. It'll be absolutely delicious. And what I will do is I will actually cut you a slice and then post it in the Blue Lotus Facebook page, or Blue Lotus Travel, the Traveling Blue Lotus, which is a group on Facebook. You can go to my Instagram, which again is called the Blue Lotus Egypt, or you can go to my website, any of those streams, and I can catch you there. Thank you so much for coming with me this evening. Has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask before we bring this wonderful tour to a close tonight? I'm waiting. Nothing at all. Just ask away. You don't have to be shy. No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming with me this evening. You're very, very welcome. Unfortunately, I won't get a chance to eat any before I go out because I've got to go and play paddle now. Paddle, for those of you that don't know, is a cross between squash and tennis, and I've become quite addicted to it. But anyway, until next time, don't forget to show your love by buying me a coffee. And until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Don't forget, Monday for Shugborough Hall, and Wednesday we are going inside a pyramid. So until then, love to all. Have a great day and see you soon. Take care now. Bye, everyone. Bye.